in this hearing, and I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins.
Mr. Chair, I request unanimous consent.
Okay.
I request unanimous consent to enter into the record this August 22nd, 2025 article from CNN titled "GOP Governors Are Sending Troops to D.C. Their states have 10 cities with higher crime rates," which shows the blatant hypocrisy of the GOP when their states have higher crime rates.
Without
than
objection,
DC,
so ordered.
and yet choose to pretend.
Chair
otherwise.
recognizes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you and the Vice Chair for convening us, the ranking member, I should say. Madam Mayor, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And you have a very tough job, and it goes without saying that the 800-pound gorilla in this room is a realization that you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back, and you're strapped in as a result of policies and rulings and law that prevent you in many instances from being the mayor that you want to be every day without being constrained. So I just want to say that on the record. It's easy for a lot of people to point fingers, but until you sat in that seat and had to make those decisions, it's very difficult. And one of your arms have been tied behind your back. Let's make no mistake about that. I want to thank all of you who are here, but one thing that I want to do is to go back and underscore the comments of Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton. I brought this up at the last meeting that we had here on the District of Columbia, and that is the fact that at the end of the day, so much of this can be traced back to the imposition of policy on a governed people without their participation. Let me repeat that. The imposition of policy without participation by the citizens, the Americans. 2016 DC voters voted.
You've read the verdict of the district court, and I'm going to go through that with you pretty clearly.
Well, Mr. Biggs, as you know, that case has been dismissed and is on appeal. And given the fact that it is still part of active litigation,
You don't want to talk about it. I don't blame you.
I'm not going to talk about the merits while it's in active litigation.
Right. I don't blame you for not wanting to talk about it, because I go through here and at least 10 times the judge said there's absolutely no basis. There's no factual basis for bringing that lawsuit. So that's pretty damning. And not only that, under Maryland law, and basically Arizona's the same way. Most cases is every bit of deference is going to be given to a party who's defending against a motion to dismiss or motion for summary judgment, right? I mean, that's normal. That's Maryland law, right?
Yes, that's the standard.
Yeah. And in this particular case, the judge made some very interesting comments. This is what he said. Ordinarily, leave to amend in Maryland is freely granted, particularly when a case is in an early stage, unless leave to amend would be futile or inappropriate for other reasons. This case presents such an occasion to deny the request, close quote. I don't know, I used to practice, I used to do a lot of trial work. I don't remember ever seeing something like that. That's pretty damning stuff from the court. And then it goes on, the judge goes on to say, at bottom, in the court's view, the plaintiffs hope to use the discovery process in order to construct a case. And the court correctly notes, through that discovery, the plaintiff wants to find sufficient facts to state a viable claim for relief. But right then, in the complaint, failed to state any claim for relief. And so, the question that's begged here is, why wasn't a Rule 11 sanction brought against you and the other plaintiffs' attorneys? Was a Rule 11 sanction brought?
No, sir. And while we obviously disagree with that ruling, we are pursuing an appeal as the rules allow us to do, and I'm confident that we'll get it turned around at the Court of Appeals.
Yeah, of course, you were confident you were going to win the case when you didn't have jack squat. But you went after 3 FFLs because you had a political agenda. There were no sanctions. Did you have to pay attorney's fees or costs? Were any of those ordered? I didn't see them ordered in here. I assume they're not. They weren't ordered.
There were no sanctions. There were no costs.
So,
the important thing is we were working as hard as we can in this city to keep illegal guns out.
No, the important thing is.
And the
sir. No, listen to me for a second. Listen to me for a second. The important thing, Mr. Attorney General Schwab, the important thing was that you were using your office to abuse FFLs because you don't like them, and that's the deal. Because, as the judge said, you basically didn't have a case whatsoever. But you decided to use your power and your authority and make the process the punishment. That's what you chose to do. That's what you
Respectfully,
chose
sir,
to do,
that is
and there's
not-
no question before you.
That is not true, sir.
That's exactly what this says. And that's a shame, because that's an abuse of power right there. And so you come in here, sit here, and tell us all this righteousness about power. But I'm telling you, when you're using the process itself to go after political opponents, which is exactly what you're doing, this is a philosophical issue that you have. And you used them, and you used two firms that you know and I know that that's their motive. The law firm, every state, that is their job. That's what they want to do. They solicit funds to go out there and sue FFLs because they don't want the Second Amendment to even exist. Read their statements, and you joined with them. Mayor Bowser, it's good to see you again. I know you do have a tough job. I'm the first to admit it.
Thank you.
But it's good to see you again.
Thank you.
And I'm out of time, so I can't ask any questions, but I do have some things I want to, Mr. Chairman, I have some UCs.
Yes, proceed.
First of all, I wanted to introduce the memorandum decision and order from the case State of Maryland, D.C. versus Engage Armament et al.
Without objection, so ordered.
The letter from the committee to the Honorable Brian L. Schwab dated June 11, 2025,
Without objection, so ordered.
which we're still waiting for answers for. This one, Mayor Muriel Bowser says Trump's surge of federal law enforcement has lowered crime in D.C.
Without objection, so ordered.
Trump's D.C. crime crackdown busts another alleged Tren de Aragua gang member. Make
That-
D.C. safe again.
Without objection, so ordered.
This one, Trump's executive orders target D.C. crime as the city hits 12 days without a homicide.
Without objection, so ordered.
This one is radical D.C. officials treated officers like crap, police leader says.
Without objection, so ordered.
Murdered congressional intern's mom says Trump should take over Washington,
Without
D.C.
objection, so ordered.
Yes, prosecuting and arresting criminals would have immediate impact on D.C.'s crime.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Ms. Brown from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. So we want to talk about abuse of power, huh? Well, let me start here. President Trump's only expertise on crime is committing it, not preventing it, enabling it, not ending it, and covering it up, not cleaning it up. He is a convicted felon. He has illegally frozen federal funding. He has assaulted the rule of law at every turn. He has consistently violated constitutionally protected due process rights, and he has unleashed a corporate agenda to enrich himself and his wealthy donors. Right now, as we sit here, Trump is bending over backwards to protect Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker who preyed on children, and blocking the release of the Epstein files to shield criminals from accountability. In the last 10 months alone, he has pardoned countless white-collar fraudsters who ripped off the American people, often conveniently after they cozied up to him. And let's not forget, Trump pardoned every single person charged or convicted in the January 6th insurrection. That included 172 people who pleaded guilty to assaulting law enforcement. It included dozens of repeat offenders, people with prior convictions for rape, manslaughter, and sexual abuse of a minor. And it included at least 10 individuals who have already been rearrested for new crimes. So spare us the talk of law and order, because under Trump, that only means lawlessness for his friends and punishment for everyone else. Now, let me be clear. I care deeply about public safety in my district, in every district across America. Every person deserves to feel safe in their neighborhood, at their job, and their school. And if I may, there is some good news. Violent crime has been consistently decreasing across America. And yes, we have more work to do, but we also know what works to keep it that way. So if you are really serious about public safety, let's increase funding for violence prevention programs. Let's pass common sense gun safety bills. And let's provide additional federal resources to our local partners to recruit and train local law enforcement. But what has this administration done instead? Rolled back gun safety reforms, gutted DOJ programs tasked with addressing violent crime, and blocked funding to local law enforcement and community violence prevention agencies like the one you served, Mr. Jackson. Earlier this year, Cleveland Peacemakers Alliance, a local violence prevention organization, had its community violence prevention grant funding frozen by this administration. Mr. Jackson, I know you cannot speak to this specific grant, but can you talk about the importance of grants funded through the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act and how freezes like this impact public safety?
Well, we know from Cleveland Peacemakers to Advance Peace to Safe Streets Baltimore to Life Camp in New York City that these organizations that are doing violence intervention work are saving lives every day. And every study we've seen that to focus on how impactful community violence intervention has been has shown promise. But this Trump administration hasn't stopped at terminating violence intervention programs. They also terminated $1 billion in youth mental health resources that we know can help our youth that are in crisis before a school shooting, before a suicide attempt, before any violent harm. They've also made major cuts to the ATF. And we know that the ATF now has lost 2/3 of its inspectors. So they don't even have the capacity to inspect gun stores to decide whether or not they're violating the law. He also reversed their zero tolerance policy for gun dealers, where they violate the law, they lose their license. And even if you go to the Department of Justice website, there's an invite for previous violating law gun stores to come back and get their licenses again. So he's not only defunding programs that we know are preventing violence, that are working with youth, that are working in schools and working with homes, he's also stripped and dismantled and defunded federal law enforcement to keep guns out of our communities.
Thank you so much. Instead of funding proven public safety solutions, my Republican colleagues want to pull political stunts like weaponizing the National Guard against the American people. Let's be clear. That only sidelines local law enforcement, sows chaos, and distracts from real emergencies. So yes, it's political theater, but worse, it's dangerous political theater that puts communities more at risk, not less.
All right, Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. The government of the District of Columbia, under the leadership sitting in front of us today, has become a poster child for DEI and gender madness. This has led to government. Mr. Chairman, this is not a concert. This audience can just settle down. I want to reclaim my time.
Stop the clock, and the gentlelady's right. Under the rules of the House, the chairman is responsible for maintaining order and preserving decorum in the committee room. I expect audience members to be respectful of the committee, so
I'd like to reclaim my time, too,
you
Mr.
reclaim
Chairman.
it. Absolutely.
This has led to government-sanctioned racial discrimination and the erasure of women. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 provides Congress plenary authority over the District of Columbia. Using this authority today, I'll be introducing the No DEI in D.C. Act. This bill will rip the DEI and gender bender nonsense out of the D.C. government root and branch, and restore common sense and equal treatment under the law. As the individuals charged with writing D.C. laws, signing D.C. laws, and enforcing D.C.'s laws, we have some questions for you on the meanings of some of the curious terms we have found in the D.C. Code. My first question for Mayor Bowser, it's yes or no. The D.C. Code makes numerous references to, quote, structural or institutional racism. Do you believe the D.C. government is structurally or institutionally racist? Yes or no? Yes or no? Is D.C. government racist, institutionally racist? Yes or no? All right, you can't answer the question. So my next question for Mayor Bowser, since you're going to sit there and placate or just be quiet, in Section 7-1234.02 of D.C. Code, you use the phrase child welfare involved birthing people. child welfare involved birthing people. Can you explain to me what this means?
I'm not that familiar with that part of the
Okay,
code.
and so you don't know. In Section 7-1234-02 of DC Code, you use the phrase justice involved incarcerated and homeless birthing people and their non-birthing partners. Can you explain to this committee what that means? We notice the DC Code struggles to define as the term woman. So Mayor Bowser, what is a woman?
I'm a woman. Are you a woman?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm a woman. You're looking at one.
Okay.